If you're looking for a great telephoto lens for your G85 or really any other system you want to adapt to, then in my personal opinion, the Canon 70-200 f4L version 1 is probably the best value you're going to find pretty much anywhere right now. And I think you'll be really surprised how much I paid for mine. Now, this lens actually came out in 1999, which is actually crazy to think about because I would have been like 4. And the fact that this lens is from 1999 actually makes me feel like this lens is sort of like an old friend who's consistent, doesn't cause much drama, and is probably going to be there for you when you're stranded on the side of the road and you need someone reliable. All joking aside, the range of the 70-200 is something that's really interesting once you start adapting it to different systems. Now, if you are focal reduced, like a speed booster, or if you're shooting on an APS-C body, you're going to get a 1.5 times crop, which will give you a 105-300. And if you're going to be on directly through to a micro four thirds sensor, you're going to be looking at a 140-400 millimeters, which would probably make this a really nice wildlife lens if you don't care about autofocus. So the focal lengths and the applications that you can use this lens for are pretty much endless, just for the fact that it's a Canon EF mount and you can mount it to pretty much anything. My personal uses of this lens are going to be events. So I would set this lens up on whatever camera body I'm using right dead center. The fact that you can be flexible between 70-200 and frame the shot correctly makes this lens super versatile. So if you're in the back of the room, you can zoom farther in, or if you're not too far away, you can just do 70 millimeters and get the shot that you need. I've also used this as a wedding ceremony angle as well, and it works amazingly for that. I used primes before that, and after going to a zoom for my wedding ceremony stuff, it's like a no-brainer at this point, even though I'm kind of done weddings. Along with this price, having a constant f4 aperture is actually really hard to find at this price in a 70-200 zoom. Anything remotely fast or constant aperture in the micro four thirds world typically runs you double or triple the price of this lens. And even at that constant f4 aperture wide open, this lens really looks good. The contrast, the colors, the sharpness, everything really is what you would expect from a Canon L lens from 1999. It's really good. And as you probably know, this isn't a technical rundown of the lens. This is more my experience, what I use it for, and whether or not I'd recommend it, which obviously I would at this point. Now, before I get into what I picked this lens up for, I just wanted to highlight that this lens is, if it's 2021, 1999, it is 22 years old, which is crazy to think about. And the fact that it's that old just tells me something about the quality of this lens. If you think about anything that you own that's 22 years old and is still functioning at a professional level or just functioning period, you're going to know that that piece of equipment or thing is of exceptional quality. And this lens is no exception. When I got this lens in the mail, obviously it showed signs of like wear and tear and that kind of thing. The optical elements were totally fine. But again, it's all a testament to the quality of this lens, which tells me that this lens will probably last another 5, 10, 20, 50 years. I feel like this lens might become like a vintage EF mount lens. Like if my son decides to go into video, maybe he'll be picking up this lens as like this cool vintage retro option. But all that aside, knowing that this lens is going to be optically sound and it's going to stand the test of time is something that's really valuable to me. So what did I pay for this lens? I paid $425 used on eBay for this lens. And if you can find it for that price, I really don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks so much for watching.